This page is the front cover of the Nintendo 64 magazine, issue 59 from August 97. Right in your face it's GoldenEye 007, with Pierce Brosnan looking all suave with a gun. Licensed to thrill. They weren't holding back, were they? Massive 12-page preview. They knew GoldenEye was going to be a system seller. There's a free Blastcore tips book handy if you were struggling with that one, I suppose. NOL 64 Inferno, over 40 pages of new games, always stretching the truth a bit, weren't they? And you could win an N64, nice touch for the readers. They're also previewing Banjo-Kazooie, calling it Rare Breed, Donkey Kong's 64-bit brother, which is a bit of a reach, isn't it? Then down the bottom there's a load of other games they're covering, like Top Gear Rally, Yoshi's Island 64, Zelda, the usual suspects for the N64 at that time, plus a few others like Quake 64 and Mission Impossible. Seems like they're trying to cover everything. The next page is a full-page advert for Mario Kart 64, screaming at you in big red and yellow letters to keep road rage off the streets. Cheeky, innit? They've got Peach and Wario in their carts front and center, looking like they're about to have a right old Barney on the track. Mario Kart 64 logo is there, can't miss it. Strap yourself in for the most competitive, addictive, wide-open racing action ever. Mario Kart 64 rides our streets of road rage, once and for all. Bit dramatic, but that's advertising for you. Down below in smaller print it says available exclusively for N64. N-Cube TM and registered are trademarks of Nintendo Company, Limited, blah blah legal stuff. Mentions console price at £149.99 and Game Pack at £59.99, which was standard at the time. Ouch. Then some little icons showing guide, memory pagals, and 4-player options. Pretty standard stuff for a Mario Kart 64 ad, but it does bring back memories of all those after-school races with your mates, good times. Issue 59, August 1997, is packed with N64 coverage. The magazine heavily features GoldenEye 007, with an official first playtest and screenshots. News includes early previews of Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Quest, Extreme G, F-Zero 64, Zelda 64, Yoshi's Island 64, and Quake 64. N64, PLAYS showcases Go, Go, Troublemakers and Hexen, while reviews highlights Blastcore. N64, SIGHTS, points to more content on GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie, and Conker's Quest. The Tips Center offers assistance for Cosmic's Code Quest, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Wave Race 64, Zelda Link's Awakening, and How High Can You Try? Regular sections like The Big Blag and Seal's Mailbag are present, along with a next month teaser. A competition to win 7 N64s and a Blastcore tips book are advertised. Rare's Banjo-Kazooie, a 3D platformer slated for November 1997 on the N64, is previewed as a Nintendo Steel Show and compared to Mario 64. This colorful game, a 128 meg cartridge, features Banjo and Kazooie on a quest, with over 24 moves and the ability to transform into different characters. The game includes 16 levels with environments like Mumbo Mountain and Bubble Gloop Swamp. The preview praises its vibrant graphics and superb animation, giving it an interactive cartoon vibe, calling it promising and enjoyable for all ages. The game focuses on holiday sales. According to Rare is developing Conker's Quest, a 3D platformer for the N64, planned for December 97. This game, similar to Banjo-Kazooie, will feature Conker and Berry on a quest through 4 worlds to retrieve stolen presents. Nintendo is lowering cartridge costs, potentially leading to cheaper N64 games. Despite the N64 focus, the article also highlights continued support for older consoles. The Super NES is getting Arkanoid, Kirby 3, Space Invaders, and Superstar Stacker. The Game Boy is receiving Ken Griffey Jr., Baseball, Tetris Plus, a James Bond 007 game, Donkey Kong Land 3, Wario Land 2, and Game & Watch Gallery. A quiz about various games concludes the piece. This N64 update page previews Acclaim's upcoming 3D racer, Extreme G, slated for a November 1997 release. The game boasts impressive graphics and animation, particularly emphasizing its blistering speed, which the article claims surpasses Mario Kart 64. Featuring tracks with loops, dips, and underground tunnels, Extreme G aims to deliver a thrilling sense of velocity. E3 showcased an expanded game, with more tracks and 4-player mode. The article highlights the game's futuristic tracks, bike selection, and vertical split-screen 2-player mode, a notable difference from Mario Kart 64. The reviewers expressed genuine excitement, predicting Extreme G to be a Christmas hit and a potential rival to Mario Kart, particularly in its multiplayer capabilities. This N64 update focuses on Mortal Kombat Mythologies, Sub-Zero, a new adventure beat-em-up from Midway, developed by John Tobias. The game, slated for release on a 64MB cart, mixes 2D and 3D visuals, and incorporates exploration mechanics like climbing and crawling, building on familiar MK controls. A screenshot showcases the exciting and bizarre Aztec City level. The update also includes screenshots of a fast-paced, futuristic racing game, possibly related to Extreme G. Finally, the page features a rather unexpected poem about Vimto with bubbles, penned by Purple Ronnie, along with a related stick figure advertisement. F-Zero 64, Nintendo's futuristic racer for the N64, promised a return to form with fast speeds, wild tracks and unique vehicle designs, aiming for arcade thrills akin to Mario Kart. Screenshots showcased dynamic gameplay. Other N64 games mentioned include Ubisoft's Tonic Trouble, a 3D platformer boasting impressive specs, and F1 Pole Position 64, which promised improvements. SimCity 3000 and FIFA 98 were also previewed, with FIFA aiming to rectify issues from its initial N64 release. The next page, well, it's a bit of a change of pace, isn't it? Gone are the N64 games, and instead we've got an advert for Craze. Yeah, OXY Daily Wash, promising to improve your chances with the opposite sex by preventing spots. It's all about protection apparently, both from zits and, I suppose, being unpopular. A rather intense-looking chap is getting his face splashed with water, a bit dramatic for soap if you ask me. 2 bottles of the stuff are shown, sensitive, and just regular daily wash. Right then, back to the games I hope on the next page. This page previews upcoming N64 games. The main focus is Legend of Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, an RPG set for early '98 with a 128MB cart. The preview highlights 3D free-roaming gameplay, comparing it to Super Mario 64, and features screenshots of environments like a graveyard and boss battles. Some fixed camera sections are mentioned. Kami Rome. Also previewed is Mother 3, another RPG from Nintendo. It has no release date and isn't at E3. The screenshots depict a quirky, cartoonish style and Japanese aesthetic. Development is progressing, and the game includes many quirky characters. The preview notes that this game is still being pushed despite the 64DD's lack of popularity. The N64 is getting a mix of new games. Nintendo is re-releasing Super Mario 64 and Wave Race 64 in Japan, with Rumble Pack support and Ghost Data in Wave Race. THQ is bringing WCW vs. the World, a wrestling game boasting 60 wrestlers and improved graphics. Buggy Boogie, a new racing game from Nintendo, promises both on- and off-road tracks and a mysterious feel. Finally, Midway is bringing Quake 64 to the N64, aiming for a faithful conversion of the PC version with its intense atmosphere and interactive sound, set for a late 1997 release. Yoshi's Island 64 is in development, aiming to bring 2D platforming to new heights on the N64. The game, around 50 to 70% complete, maintains the hand-drawn style of the SNES original. The visuals boast crayon sketch backgrounds and parallax scrolling. Yoshi will star solo this time. Screenshots reveal a tunnel, a fire-breathing dragon, and a cutesy scene with Yoshi and a moon. The article also includes a time capsule section, revisiting previews of Donkey Kong Country and Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. The original Donkey Kong Country review received a high score. Other games mentioned include Tiny Toons, Wacky Sports, and Cruisin' USA. This page is a full-on movie poster for Men in Black. Right there in your face, Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith looking all cool in their shades and suits, holding those ridiculously oversized alien guns. Protecting the Earth from the scum of the universe is the big tagline. It's a pretty classic 90s blockbuster movie poster vibe. Down at the bottom it says it opens August 1st at cinemas across the country. There's all the usual movie production credits at the bottom. Columbia Pictures and Amblin Entertainment are mentioned. And a little starburst mentions Will Smith's single Men in Black being on the soundtrack, which, if you remember, was a banger back then, even if you weren't necessarily rushing out to see the film itself. Pretty standard movie advert page, really. Bomberman 64 is highlighted with exclusive screenshots showcasing 3D multiplayer and diverse boss environments. Hudson is releasing new translucent controllers. Hot News Jamboree reveals Pokémon Stadium for the 64DD with 3D Pokémon. Rumors swirl of Super Mario 64. Part 2 for 64DD, featuring Luigi. T&E Soft is developing an N64 golf game, and there are whispers of a Square Final Fantasy title. Koei is creating a Tomb Raider-esque shooter. Rumble packs are popular in Japan. Warrington North game. More Furious ranking indicates Japanese N64 gamers are highly active, with significant daily and weekend playtime. This N64 update previews 2 upcoming games. Lamborghini 64, a racing sim from Titus, features early screenshots and a dodgy control scheme, but potential is noted. Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, a Nintendo-developed baseball sim, promises realism through motion capture, and boasts a larger kart size. The update also touches on the Japanese release schedule, highlighting upcoming titles like Multi-Racing Championship and Gomon 5, plus Doom. A promotional campaign in Japan featured pop singer Kyoko Hiroki, promoting Star Fox 64. An anime update announces a Tamagotchi movie, premiered in July 1997. Finally, the Japan Top 5 games for June 1997 are listed, with Star Fox 64 topping the chart. The next page gives us an update on 2 upcoming N64 titles, starting with Mission Impossible. Now this was aiming to be a big one back then, 3D adventure, published by Ocean, and they were promising a lot. The reviewer had seen it before in May, and reckons the character animation has come on leaps and bounds. They're talking about special effects and solid visuals, saying it's impressive, but they do point out it's still early days and there's a fair bit of work still needed. Looking at the screenshots, it's all very polygonal and blocky, standard N64 fare at the time, but you can see what they were going for with the movie tie-in. Then we have NFL Quarterback Club, 98. This is Acclaim's take on American football. Again, 64 meg kart, release date to be announced, same as Mission Impossible. The reviewer seems mostly impressed with the graphics, especially in the N64's high-resolution mode, saying the players look almost real, which is a bit of a stretch looking back at it now, bless them. They do say it plays like a 16-bit footy game, but with much better graphics, and that's not a bad thing apparently, just familiar gameplay with a graphical boost. So, typical sports game of the era, trying to push the N64's visual capabilities. The next page throws a curveball. It's a full-page advert for the Batman and Robin film, remember that one? They were really pushing it back then. This is a tie-in with Mars chocolates it seems. Snickers, Topic, Mars Bar, Bounty, Twix, Milky Way, the whole gang. Apparently, if you buy one of these chocolate bars, you might find Dr. Fries and his ice gun inside the wrapper, and win a holiday to California. Talk about optimistic odds. They're going all in on the villains, mentioning Poison Ivy as well, just to remind you who's in the film. If you don't win the California trip, you might get a Batman and Robin soundtrack CD, or even a video of Batman, Batman Returns, or Batman Forever. VHS tapes, remember those? The soundtrack itself is being hyped at the bottom, bit of a random mix of artists on there, R.E.M., R. Kelly, Underworld, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and even the Smashing Pumpkins, proper 90s compilation album that. So yeah, all about Batman and Robin and chocolate, a classic combo. This page is all about Earthworm Jim 3D. Can you believe they actually made that? It's in the N64 update section, so it's clearly upcoming for the console. Developed by VIS Interactive apparently, described as a 3D adventure, slated for release in early 1998, and coming in at a hefty 64 meg kart size. Sounds ambitious, right? The article blurb says it was revealed in Nintendo magazine last month, so this is probably a follow-up. Earthworm Jim is back, this time trapped inside his own head after a cow-based accident. Classic Jim humor, I suppose. It mentions returning enemies like Evil the Cat, Psychro, and Bob the Goldfish. And they've added new weirdos to the mix. Rabid the Giant who rides a scooter, Norman Bates, and Claw Capaldi, a lobster mobster. Sounds typically bonkers for Earthworm Jim. There are a few screenshots dotted around. One shows Jim running on some weird blocky platforms. Looks a bit chaotic. There's also a strange cartoon cow character labeled Wriggle On and X 10 feet. No idea what that's about. The screenshot's captions mention narrow platforms being tricky, puzzles with boxes, and a level where Jim is skating on something that looks like salami, apparently. It's all very typically odd for Earthworm Jim, but 3D. Not sure how that's going to work out, to be honest, but we'll see. This article previews 2 upcoming N64 titles. Quest 64, an RPG developed by THQ, is slated for early 1998, and is aiming to be the first proper RPG on the console. Players control Shanjak, a spirit tamer, in a world with detailed environments and visuals, similar to Super Mario 64. The article suggests it could be a classic, despite the lack of successful RPGs on the N64 at the time. Next, Tetrasphere, a 3D puzzle game by Nintendo, is coming in the summer of 1997. Featuring various modes, including Rescue and Versus, the game involves dropping blocks to reveal a secret within a sphere. The involvement of Tetris creator Alexei Pajitnov is highlighted. The article praises its addictive gameplay, vibrant graphics, and potential to be a solid puzzle game for the N64. The N64 updates highlight 2 Boss Studios games. Top Gear Rally, showcased at E3, generated significant buzz, and was praised for its weather effects, exceeding the visual quality of 32-bit consoles. Screenshots depicted gameplay with speeds up to 86 miles per hour and emphasized weather conditions. The release date was unknown, with a 64 meg cartridge size planned. Twisted Edge, a snowboarding sim, was also unveiled at E3, with a promising pre-rendered video. Nintendo Magazine spoke with Boss Studios, who remained tight-lipped about gameplay but shared early screenshots. The developers aim to create the world's most dangerous courses, suggesting an emphasis on challenging environments and an early adoption of snowboarding for the N64. Like Top Gear Rally, the release date and kart size for Twisted Edge were not yet announced. This page previews several upcoming N64 games. Konami's Winter Olympics in Nagano offers a winter sports simulation, with release details still pending. Top Gear Rally boasts impressive graphics, particularly puddle reflections, and is already touted as a leading driving sim, including a paint shop feature. Mace, The Dark Age from Midway, is a 3D medieval beat-em-up aiming for coin-op quality, promising 10 warriors and fatalities. Finally, Fox Data is running a Go for Gold contest to win a gold N64 console. Entrants must name an N64 game with gold in the title. This preview highlights 2 upcoming N64 games. San Francisco Rush, a 3D racer from Midway, is slated for November 1997. It boasts a 64 MB cartridge, solo play, extreme racing, and 4-player modes. Set in San Francisco, the game features steep hills, massive jumps, and shortcuts. The preview praises its coin-op feel, speed, and detailed tracks, hinting it could be one of the best racers on the system. Superman, a 3D adventure from THQ, is planned for mid-1998, also on a 64 MB cart. The game promises to redeem the character's poor video game history. The story involves Lois Lane's kidnapping and Superman battling henchmen to stop Lex Luthor's new weapon. The game offers full 3D control, but screenshots are a bit blocky. The developers are hoping to create a better Superman game than previous attempts. This page showcases a blast from the past with an advert for Disney games, proper old-school stuff for the Super Nintendo and Game Boy. Remember those days? No polygons here, just good old sprites. It's pushing games based on Pocahontas, Pinocchio, and Donald Duck in Maui Mallard. Maui Mallard, yeah, that's the one where Donald Duck turns into a ninja. Quirky, even for Disney, but it got an 87% from NMS, so someone liked it, eh? Pinocchio's game gets a mention too. Apparently the animation mimics the cartoon accurately, and it was rated in Set 96. Right at the bottom it teases, the Hunchback of Notre Dame game is coming soon. Bet that was a looker on the SNES. This is all being brought to you by THQ, and some place called BATTs, who I guess sold games back then. It's a reminder that, even alongside all the shiny new 3D stuff coming to the N64, there was still plenty of life left in the 16-bit consoles and handhelds for a bit. Good times. This N64 news update features 3 items. First, Wayne Gretzky 98 is touted as an enhanced version of 3D hockey, with NHL teams, Gretzky, and a release slated for November 97. The 64 meg cart suggests detailed graphics. Next, Struggle Hard, a 3D beat-em-up from Imagineer, aims for a Mortal Kombat or Dead or Alive feel, featuring scantily clad female fighters, fatalities, ring-outs, and 10 characters. Its release date is unknown. Screenshots depict cage and desert island battles. Finally, Dr. Pepper is touring the UK with N64s, running a Mario Kart 64 competition. 6 mobile units travelled across the country, with winners earning a trip to London and a year's supply of Dr. Pepper and games. This page, you're looking at a classic gameplay advert, proper mail-order days. They are pushing the N64, powerful consoles and lowest prices, all marketing guff of course, but the N64 bundle for £136.99 wasn't bad. They list bundles with the usual suspects: Mario Kart, Super Mario 64, FIFA 64, Pilot Wing 64, Shadows of the Empire, Turok, and Wave Racer. For UK N64 games they show the box art for FIFA Soccer 64, Pilot Wings 64, International Superstar Soccer Pro, a bit premature calling it Pro, Shadows of the Empire, Super Mario 64, and Mario Kart 64. Then there's games like Killer Instinct Gold, Cruisin' USA, Star Fox 64, Turok Dinosaur Hunter, and Wave Race 64, a mixed bag, some classics in there. They've also got PlayStation games and accessories, joypads, memory cards, steering wheels, the lot, and even a section for Virtual Boy games at £12.99 each. Bless the Virtual Boy. Right at the bottom, the order form, cut it out and post it. Check some postal orders, that's how you bought games back then, kids. This magazine page features multiple competitions. The Big Black, another N64, offers a Nintendo 64 console with the Blast Core question asking about the vehicle to save, missile carrier. A Crazy Cats contest gives away Gunsmith Cats merchandise with a question about goo gun messiness. A Right Wingding offers Simpsons comic collections with the correct answer regarding Krusty's sidekick, Sideshow Bob. Babylon and On gives away Babylon 5 tapes, with the answer being What's Unexpected in Space, Fresh Veg. The page ends with a list of previous winners, entry details, postcard to London by August 31, 1997, and a slight preference for postcard entries. This issue features a Dr. Pepper Nintendo 64 challenge with 5 consoles up for grabs, each including Super Mario 64, Dr. Pepper, and Pocket Money. To enter, solve a Nintendo-themed word search. The magazine also reviews games, labeling scores above 90% essential buy, and games under 25% as complete dogs. Answers to previous quizzes, including dates, game titles, and names, are also provided. Meanwhile, in the Monkey House section profiles the staff. Highlights include the editor, Simon Clays, whose job is drink beer, and Sean White, the reviews editor, whose job is give cheek. Phil Dawson, the tips editor, lists Greek mythology and French philosophy as his top interests. This page is all about GoldenEye 007 on the N64. The writer starts off pretty confidently, boasting about playing it already and knowing everything. Bit cheeky in it? They mention sneaking info from Rare's offices, which in the day felt like proper insider stuff. It's all about the anticipation for this game. Reckons it's going to be the Nintendo 64 game of the year. They're saying it's a first-person shooter, like Doom, but set in the Bond world, with locations and actors from the Pierce Brosnan film. Apparently they've toned down the Bond humor for more action, but kept the gadgets, guns, and Bond girls. Sounds like they're trying to capture that classic Bond atmosphere which we all know and love. The page also has a Twycross board of game classification thing, certifying it as suitable for 4 years old and up, and for 1 to 4 players. Multiplayer GoldenEye, that was the real drawback then, wasn't it? They mentioned the James Bond theme too, by Monty Norman, classic. Overall, it's a pretty hyped preview, setting the stage for what everyone knew was going to be a killer game for the N64. This page continues the GoldenEye 007 hype train. Blimey, they've gone all out with a massive action shot of a vehicle exploding. Looks like Bond's causing a bit of mayhem as usual. It's definitely got that chunky, blocky N64 look, but you can see what they're going for. Then down at the bottom they've got the classic Bond gun barrel sequence in 3 stages, all done in the game engine. A bit of a nod to the films, which is a nice touch. Essentially this page is screaming action and Bond and N64, hammering home that this is going to be the game we've all been waiting for. No messing about, just straight into the explosive action. This page delves into the finer points of GoldenEye gameplay, emphasizing skill and precision. It highlights the sniper rifle's effectiveness, noting its powerful zoom and the Virtua Cop-style aiming reticle activated by holding shoulder buttons. Screenshots demonstrate strategic use of the sniper rifle for stealth and long-range takedowns, emphasizing headshots for instant kills. The article also covers crouching behind cover for protection. Aim down. The page then explores different control schemes. 2.2 Galore utilizes a dual controller setup for hardcore players, offering analog control for movement and strafing, ideal for sniping. 1.2 Solitaire is the standard single controller setup. The game allows for extensive customization, enabling players to tailor controls to their preferred style, reminiscent of the game Turok. This page deviates from gameplay tips, offering bizarre James Bond trivia. A section titled Dr. Number humorously lists alternative international film titles. For example, Dr. No became James Bond chases Dr. No in Germany. The page includes GoldenEye screenshots with captions, highlighting details like the realistic muzzle flash. Unexpectedly, a childish poem about summer, by Purple Ronnie, referencing swimming trunks and a can of Vimto appears. This is accompanied by a Vimto advertisement. This mix of Bond gaming, movie trivia, and random content is a late 90s magazine filler style, creating a quirky and somewhat random experience. This article reviews GoldenEye 007 for the N64, highlighting its adaptation of movie locations, including Archangel, Severnaya, and Cuba, while incorporating elements from other Bond films. The game boasts impressive graphics for its time, with screenshots showcasing detailed environments like the Bielamari Dam and the chemical warfare facility. The review mentions various cheats, such as DK mode, which adds humorous effects like giant Donkey Kong arms. Difficulty levels range from Agent to the ultra-hard Zero Agent level, where enemies are significantly more challenging. Screenshots depict intense gameplay, including the Russian nuke, tank capture, and a graphic death sequence. The review suggests the game balances Bond's world with some silliness, making it intense yet entertaining. This advertisement from Excitement Direct, a mail-order gaming retailer, highlights the Nintendo 64's heyday. Bundles including the console and classic games like Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64 were offered for around £180. The ad showcases a wide selection of N64 titles, including Blast Corps, GoldenEye 007, and Wave Race 64, with games priced at £40 to £50. The ad also caters to import enthusiasts, offering US and Japanese N64 games. Alongside the N64 focus, the flyer includes Game Boy and Super NES games, with Game Boy titles around £10. The advertisement also offered a mail-in order form and a used game buy and sell service. This page serves as a nostalgic glimpse into the N64 era. This article explores the innovative features of GoldenEye 007. Backroom Boffins reveals Rare's dedication to realism, using staff and Bond actor likenesses for characters. Do Be Careful Bond highlights the game's gadget-focused gameplay, with Bond's watch replacing the traditional menu. 30 Ways to Die showcases the extensive arsenal, including 30 weapon types, alongside martial arts and gadgets. The article spotlights the Walther PP7, silenced, the DD-44 Dostoevsky, officer's pistol, and the ZMG 9mm Uzi-like. Screenshots illustrate the game's action-packed moments, showcasing what made GoldenEye a groundbreaking title. This text explores gameplay elements in the video game GoldenEye 007. It highlights level objectives, emphasizing the need for stealth and careful execution, as failure to complete objectives correctly would result in failure. It introduces the concept of stealth gameplay, encouraging the use of silenced weapons and avoidance of alarms. The text then reviews several weapons, including the silenced DSK DEUST-CHE submachine gun, the Phantom, a brute force weapon, and the KF-7 Soviet rifle, each offering distinct advantages. Finally, the text touches upon melee combat, like the karate chop, which the text points out as comical, and the knives that allowed for silent takedowns, creating fun stealth gameplay options. Overall, this page dives into GoldenEye's detailed gameplay mechanics and a cool arsenal. This page delves further into GoldenEye 007, and it's still going on about how clever the AI is, under the heading, Smarter Than the Average Bear. Apparently these guards are not just blind Muppets, they can actually hear you, and react to noise, which was quite something back then. They even suggest you can use this against them, with proximity mines. It also mentions Natalia, Bond's sidekick, who apparently is quite handy with a Magnum in the jungle level, making it feel like a 1.5 player experience. Which is a bit of a weird term, isn't it? Then there's a section called Pick Me Up, explaining how GoldenEye handles items and health. Unlike your typical Doom clone apparently, there are no medipacks lying around. You start with full health, but you can pick up body armor, though it degrades over time. And guns? Well, you have to take them off fallen enemies, which is a bit more realistic, I suppose. Gadgets and keycards are also collected in the same way. Reedy. Lastly, it briefly covers some of the weapons you can get your hands on. There's the AR-33 rifle, described as an American assault rifle, with good range and stopping power. Then the RCP-90, a powerful submachine gun, with a high rate of fire. The grenade launcher is there for lobbing explosives. And finally the rocket launcher, a shoulder-mounted beast, that's particularly nasty in multiplayer. Standard shooter weapons really, but GoldenEye did make them feel pretty satisfying at the time. This magazine page celebrates GoldenEye's characters and weaponry. The article praises the game's interactive characters, highlighting Natalia Simonova, Isabella Valentin Zukovsky, Robbie Coltrane, Janusz/Alec Trevelyan, Sean Bean, Xenia Onatop, Famke Janssen, and Boris Grishenko, Alan Cumming. The page also showcases screenshots of stealth gameplay and Bond in action. The article then discusses the game's weapons: a sniper rifle for long-range kills, a rifle butt for close-quarters combat, standard grenades, and remote mines for causing explosions. The page, from the official UK Nintendo magazine, promises more GoldenEye content to follow. This page explores outdoor environments in N64 games, focusing on Turok and GoldenEye 007. Turok is noted for its vast but often foggy outdoor levels. GoldenEye features smaller outdoor areas, such as the Cuban jungle, with clear visibility from vantage points. The article then reviews GoldenEye's multiplayer characters, including Mayday, Baron Samedi, Oddjob, and Jaws, remarking on their quirks. While the characters lack special abilities, the article still celebrates their inclusion. Screenshots highlight GoldenEye's outdoor settings and explosive action. Finally, the article covers the game's weapons, including the shotgun, tank, plastique explosives, and watch laser. GoldenEye 07's multiplayer, described as some duff foreplay gag, featured split-screen deathmatch for 2 or 4 players, a highlight on the N64. 11 custom-designed levels offered fast-paced action, and players could choose from a variety of characters, including iconic Bond villains. Matches were customizable, allowing for kill limit and weapon selection, with rankings awarded post-match. The game included levels based on iconic Bond film locations. A diverse arsenal of weapons was available, from the one-hit kill Golden Gun to the rapid-fire Club. Hidden weapons like silver and gold Walthers added extra power. Timed mines provided explosive gameplay. The level select screen mimicked microfilm rolls. The article teased a secret bonus level and hidden surprises triggered by shooting specific objects. Overall, the preview gave a positive outlook on GoldenEye's multiplayer experience. This page previews the upcoming N64 game, GoldenEye 007. Unlike typical licensed games, EON, the film company, initiated the project, leading Rare to develop the title. The article highlights the game's graphics, impressive for the time, screenshots displaying gameplay and guard dialogue, and a dual-wielding feature inspired by action films, where players can wield 2 weapons simultaneously. The piece also includes tables listing Bond films, from Dr. No to Tomorrow Never Dies, setting the scene. The final section confirms the game's completion, cartridge production, and the anticipation for an American release in August, with hopes for a full playtest and a successful launch, suggesting high expectations. Cosmic Cracker, the cheat code compiler for Cosmic's Code Quest, is sharing tips sent in by readers via the old-school method, postal mail. This issue features cheats for N64 games, Blast Corps, and International Superstar Soccer 64. For Blast Corps, there's an instant explosions trick using the Z-trigger to blow up buildings, and a turbo start technique borrowed from Mario Kart 64. ISS 64 offers a Big Heads mode, activated by a complex button combination, and a code to unlock all-star teams, bypassing the league mode grind. These cheats offer a fun advantage, reminding readers of a time before instant online access to gaming secrets. This page is the tip centre, proper old school this. We've got some bits and bobs for a few N64 classics here. First up, Super Mario 64. It's a little trick for unlimited lives during the final Bowser fight. Useful if you're still struggling with old Bowser. After all this time, walk behind a pillar, jump in a pipe, and boom, extra lives. Simple but effective, just like Mario himself. Nitin Norkru. Then there's Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. Blimey, a whole list of cheat codes. Remember typing these in? Pen and ink mode, disco mode, Tirikin. Sounds like they were having a laugh at Acclaim. Infinite lives, all weapons, unlimited ammo, all the usual suspects for making the game a right breeze if you were stuck. Apparently you can even change the intro with these codes. Bit of a novelty there. And a tree blowing tip, because, why not? Shoot trees with normal bullets, and if nothing happens use the grenade launcher. Subtle. Lastly, Shadows of the Empire, a game trying to cash in on the Star Wars hype, but not a bad game mind. There's a one-hit kills mode, by naming yourself _Jabba, classic name exploit trick that one. And a way to see the game designers after the ending holding upright on the 3D stick. Bet they were chuffed about that little Easter egg. So there you have it, a page of cheats and tips, good times. This page details cheat codes for classic games. In Wave Race 64, skilled players in championship mode can spot killer whales near Southern Island. Wild Guns on the Super Nintendo has a level select code. Hold select and press A and B in a specific order on the select screen. For Jurassic Park on Game Boy, input a sequence of up, down, left, up, down, right and select twice when the T-Rex roars on the title screen to unlock stage select. The Lion King on the Super Nintendo offers level select and invincibility by entering a code in the options menu. Finally, Prince of Persia 2 on SNES features a level skip cheat using a combination of buttons in the options menu and provides passwords for levels 2 through 13. The official Nintendo magazine's Hot Help section answers reader questions. The hotliners provide support for SNES, Game Boy, and N64 games. P. Parkinson struggles with Doom on SNES and is advised to increase the difficulty. Matthew Hughes receives a Turok cheat code, NTHGTHDGD-CRTDTRK. James Wilmore gets a tip for Secret of Evermore to beat Tiny. Finally, Alex Cheese receives Super Mario Kart cheats, a button combo to unlock special cup in time trials, and a way to shrink your racer. The page concludes with the Nintendo hotline number, offering further assistance. This page from the Hot Help section covers retro game challenges. John from Barnsley needs help with Juggernaut in Spider-Man and the X-Men in Arcade's Revenge, SNES, with the answer being to use the environment. Stephen from Surrey struggles with level 3 jumps in Battletoads in Battlemaniacs, SNES, with the advice to practice. Ricky from Kent has similar issues with Battletoads on Game Boy, emphasizing moving forward. Andrew from Stoke-on-Trent needs Shang Tsung morph combos for Mortal Kombat 2 on Game Boy. Stuart from Cleveland is after Killer Instinct moves for Cinder and Orchid's fatality. Ryan from Northern Ireland asks for Mortal Kombat 2 cheats on SNES, including 2-hit win and Shao Kahn warp codes. Finally, Richard from Hampshire wants to play as Idol in Killer Instinct. The page ends with a call for readers to contact the Nintendo hotline for further assistance. This player's guide to Mortal Kombat Trilogy, penned by the Cosmic Cracker, details character information, codes, and moves. This first part focuses on cheat codes, Yeti King, combat cheats, and more combat options, offer toggles for features like free play, fatality time, and one-round matches. Hidden menus, accessible via a 10-button code at the story screen, high punch, low kick, run, low punch, high punch, high punch, high punch, low punch, low punch, low punch. Unlock even more options. Success is signaled by an "oh more" sound. The guide also reveals a harder game tip. Holding down and start while highlighting Kanora unlocks a tougher tournament. This mode features more endurance matches and battles against Motaro, Chameleon, and Smoke, culminating in a showdown with Shao Kahn. This page details Mortal Kombat Trilogy's secrets. It provides stage select codes for locations like the Graveyard and Ermax Portal. Winner Fights codes allow direct access to boss battles, alongside a Toon 2 mode code. Hidden bonus games include Galaga, unlocked after 100 matches, Pong, after 52-player battles, and Space Invaders. The page highlights the fighters' diverse finishing moves, fatalities, brutalities, babalities, and animalities, requiring a 3-round match and a mercy. Rain's moves are detailed, including his special moves, fatalities, and other finishes, complete with button combinations and combo damage percentages. A combat key clarifies button inputs. This page provides a guide for playing Reptile and Striker in a classic Mortal Kombat game, likely MK3 or UMK3. It details each character's moves, specials, fatalities, animalities, friendships, and brutalities. For Reptile, the focus is on his acid spit, invisibility, and tongue lash, including combos and damage percentages. Striker's guide highlights his grenades, baton attacks, and tech-based fatalities, also with combo information. Screenshots showcase the gameplay, featuring classic Mortal Kombat action. The page functions as a comprehensive tips guide, common in gaming publications of that era. This page continues the Mortal Kombat Trilogy Player's Guide, this time focusing on Jax and Nightwolf, two proper hard nuts from the MK universe. For Jax, it's all about his cybernetic arms and grapples. They list his special moves like the Rocket Punch, the Ground Pound, and of course his devastating backbreaker. They also detail his fatalities, animalities, babalities, brutalities, the whole shebang really, for those gruesome finishes we all loved. There are screenshots showing Jax in action against Jade, pulling off some brutal combos. Rue 2. Then we move on to Nightwolf, the Native American warrior. He's got his trusty tomahawk, energy arrows, and shoulder charges. His fatalities are a bit more mystical, with lightning strikes and disappearances. Again, they cover all the finishing moves and combos, just like Jax's section. Screenshots show Nightwolf battling Sub-Zero, showcasing his moves. It's a pretty standard guide page, laying out all the moves and combos for these characters. Good for any young lads back in the day trying to master these characters and show off to their mates in the arcades or at home. Remember trying to memorize all these button combos? Simpler times, eh? This page continues the Mortal Kombat Trilogy Guide, now taking a look at the mysterious Noob Saibot and the Deadly Jade. For Noob Saibot, they've got all his shadowy moves detailed. You know, the usual blast, mirror throw and teleport slam. They run through his fatalities, animalities, and all that gore we loved back then, including one where he slams you repeatedly charming. There's even a brutality listed, if you could ever actually pull those button mashers off. Screenshots show Noob in action against Raiden and Kali Kano. Proper dark ninja vibes going on. Jory-ish. Then it's on to Jade, the green assassin. Her section covers her projectile shurikens, the high and low versions, and that flashy Jade kick. Fatalities-wise, there's the kebab rib, lovely, and a shake 'em up. Again, they list all the alities: babality, animality, friendship, and brutality. The combos are there too: jump kicks, shurikens, typical Jade stuff, hitting Striker and Baraka in the screenshots. Warranty. It's pretty much the same format as the last page, giving you the lowdown on moves and finishes for these characters. Good if you were trying to learn them all back in the day, although who could remember all these button combinations really? Still, good times trying, eh? It's all verified by the Nintendo hotline apparently, so must be legit. This page continues the Mortal Kombat Trilogy Player's Guide, this time showcasing the Cyborg Kano and the Special Forces agent Sonya Blade. For Kano, they kick things off with his special moves, the knife toss and slash, the roll and psycho roll, all the classics really. Fatalities are suitably grim, the skeleton hold and that laser eye beam, nice. Pit fatality and animality are there of course, and a brutality for the button mashers. Combos are listed with damage percentages, ranging from a basic 22% up to a hefty 50% combo, involving jumping and knife slashes, show-offs. Screenshots show Kano battling it out with classic MK characters in the arena, Luti Kadu. Then we move on to Sonya Blade. Special moves include her rings, leg grab, flying punch and bicycle kick. Fatalities are suitably brutal with a kiss of death and a purple bubble hold, charming stuff. Pit fatality, animality, babality, friendship and brutality are all present and correct, covering all the alities you could want. Combos range up to a decent 38% damage, involving jump kicks and leg grabs. Screenshots feature Sonya dishing out punishment to the likes of Kano and Reptile in desert and city stages. Again, it's all laid out in a clear format, easy enough to follow if you were trying to master these two characters back in '97 or whenever this was. Nintendo hotline verified, so it must be gospel. This page in Nintendo Tip Center is all about Wave Race 64, classic water racing on the N64. They're banging on about reverse mode, which apparently combines expert difficulty with racing backwards. Sounds properly chaotic, doesn't it? They've even mapped out the sandy beach course for this reverse malarkey, showing the route backwards with all the buoy markers. There are a few screenshots dotted about, showing the in-game action. One caption even says, "Nothing much is happening here at all. Ho-hum, never mind." Bit sarcastic, aren't we? Maybe even I wouldn't have written something so dry back then. They're also giving tips for Glacier Coast stunt mode. Apparently you need to do stunts before the ramps and flips off the icebergs to rack up points. They reckon if you spin using the 3D stick right, you can bag 10,000 points. The target score for Glacier Coast is a lofty 19,000. And they've got a little leaderboard table, showing some top scores. MJ is leading the pack with 19,015. Looks like someone was putting in the hours to master those stunts then. So yeah. All in all, this page is a Wave Race 64 masterclass, focusing on reverse racing and stunt mode scoring. Just the sort of tips you'd be after to impress your mates back in the day. Nintendo Tip Center provides tips for Wave Race 64's Sunset Bay course, including a reverse mode. The guide highlights key buoy locations, R/L, and advises on navigating bends, avoiding mines, and maneuvering around the ramp in reverse. Tips emphasize hugging the beach, navigating tricky buoy sequences, and avoiding the jetty. The The guide also covers stunts like flips off the curved iceberg for points, and includes a ring challenge. The authors, with a shout-out to Design Monkey Hobbsy, stress the importance of completing the course with time to spare. The tips are purportedly verified by the Nintendo hotline, despite the potential of being a pre-written guide. This text provides tips for Wave Race 64, focusing on reverse mode for Drake Lake and Marine Fortress. For Drake Lake, the advice centers on navigating the blue line and weaving through buoys, with the warning about fog obscuring reed beds. Marine Fortress lacks specific text tips, instead relying on screenshots showcasing jumps and waves. The article also includes sections on stunt mode, with a diagram and score, and time extensions. Overall, it highlights the game's stunt aspects and encourages players. The text concludes with a light-hearted tone, including commentary on screenshots and verified tips from the Nintendo hotline. This guide offers tips for Wave Race 64, focusing on Port Blue in reverse mode, and includes 2 sets of course section advice labeled A to D. The first set highlights time-saving shortcuts, avoiding obstacles, and navigating currents. The second set details tight turns, strong currents, and tunnel navigation. It emphasizes adjusting speed and steering for optimal performance. The guide also mentions a 2-player mode Flashpoint and high stunt scores, concluding with verified by the Nintendo hotline to give a taste of a gaming guide from the 90s. This magazine spread offers tips for Wave Race 64, focusing on the reverse courses of Twilight City and Glacier Coast. Twilight City's reverse layout presents tricky turns and obstacles, including navigating buoys and avoiding the swimming pool. Glacier Coast in reverse emphasizes avoiding ice slides and again navigates buoys, jumps, which you can't jump over backwards, and a swimming pool detour. The guide provides visual aids to clarify these challenges. The article also covers Southern Island stunt mode, detailing ring navigation and a target score of 10,000. Verified by the Nintendo hotline, confirms the article's credibility. This section focuses on Wave Race 64's Southern Island course in reverse mode, Race 8 of the championship. Tips are provided for navigating the icy sections, including how to slide effectively and utilize an ice ramp. A course map aids in navigation, and the importance of the receding tide and sandbanks is highlighted. Additional tips cover avoiding jumping on the first lap, using submersion to combat the strong current and waves, and navigating around buoys. Screenshots showcase stunt mode, with double flips earning 1,500 points, and a time limit for additional tricks. The text concludes with a light-hearted comment about a player's misfortune and a general appreciation for the game despite its dated graphics. This article revisits The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening on Game Boy, answering reader questions about the game's dungeons. Level 1's hidden room requires bombs to reveal a seashell. Level 2 instructs players to defeat enemies in a specific order to obtain the Nightmare Key. Level 3 uses Pegasus boots to move eye blocks and requires powder for braziers. Level 4 details how to defeat spiky-backed enemies. Level 5 involves a hookshot bridge. Level 6 describes how to reach a treasure chest filled with rupees. The article features screenshots, providing a nostalgic trip back to the pixelated charm of the original Game Boy. This text summarizes a tips and tricks page for The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, mirroring the style of 90s gaming magazines. The page answers common player questions, such as how to solve room puzzles involving enemies and elephant statues. Power Bracelet 2 required. It also offers advice on dungeon puzzles and boss battles, including the use of items like magic powder and Pegasus boots. The text highlights the game's side quest with a trading item guide, detailing item recipients like the quadruplet's mother and Madame Meow Meow's dog. Finally, it provides solutions for specific level puzzles and the final boss, complete with nostalgic elements like a "Help! I'm stuck" box and a reference to the Nintendo hotline. The page's overall aim is to provide helpful advice with a touch of retro gaming charm. Donkey Kong is hosting a series of challenges dubbed How High Can You Try? For a chance to win a year's subscription to the official Nintendo magazine. Players must complete tasks in various Nintendo games and submit photographic proof by August 25, 1997. Challenges include Turok, Dinosaur Hunter Time Trials, Wave Race 64 Stunts, Destroying Walkers in Shadows of the Empire, a Super Metroid speedrun, and conquering Princess Daisy's secret slide in Super Mario 64. The page provides photography tips for capturing screen images. It's a typical late 90s Nintendo competition, offering a subscription as a prize. This is an advertisement for a subscription to the official Nintendo magazine from 1997. The promotion offered 12 issues for the price of 9, costing £22.50, with a deadline of August 1997. The ad highlights the magazine's coverage of the N64, boasting its reputation as the leading source for news and reviews. The advertisement showcases 3 different magazine covers, each featuring a variety of popular N64 games. These include key titles like Star Fox 64, Mario Kart 64, Wave Race 64, and others like Castlevania 64, Duke Nukem 64, and FIFA 64. The ad aims to entice readers by emphasizing the magazine's comprehensive coverage of the N64 gaming scene. Subscription prices varied depending on location. This page is a review for Blastcore on the N64, and blimey, they were making a fuss about it, weren't they? For years we've been waiting for a totally new gaming experience, they say, laying it on thick. Alright, we get it, it's a rare game, back when that meant something special, ta-wee. The review bangs on about the plot which, let's be honest, is a bit daft. Leaky nuclear missiles, and you have to clear a path for the transporter. Sounds a bit like hard work if you ask me. Apparently, it's not just smashing things up, there's strategy and puzzles involved. Righto. They break the game down into clearing paths first, then going back for extra bits later. Sounds like they're trying to make it sound deeper than it is. Down the side, it gives you the nitty-gritty. Nintendo published it. Price was a hefty £59.99 back then, released in August. A 3D Smash EMUP is how they describe it, takes up 64 megs on the cart. One player only, no multiplayer nonsense. It does have battery backup, thank goodness, and uses a memory pack for saving. They've got some small screenshots showing the game, lots of explosions as you'd expect under the headline, things that make you go boom, and a big picture of some futuristic looking blokes in hazmat suits, and a proper robot fella. All looks very dramatic, doesn't it? Blastcore, yeah, I remember it. It was alright, I suppose. I've Been Around the World discusses the structure of Blastcore. The game features a world map that expands as the player progresses, with increasing difficulty. Levels include demolition, bonus and training stages, with the map indicating completed hidden extras. The game boasts multiple difficulty levels, encouraging replayability. Screenshots showcase the world map and level names, highlighting the ability to plan moves using the overhead view. Gameplay involves more than just destruction, with elements like power sliding and strategic object placement. The game's emphasis on explosions is noted, and overall, Blastcore is considered a solid game for its time. You've got to have drive, highlights the vehicles of Blastcore, designed for maximum destruction. The Ramdozer, a bulldozer, is the basic tool for pushing explosives and demolishing structures. The Backlash, a dump truck, can power slide through buildings. The Sideswipe, a juggernaut with battering rams, needs batteries to function, but swiftly flattens buildings when powered. Finally, the J-Bomb, a jetpack vehicle, hovers before crashing through structures. The gameplay involves staying ahead of a transporter, destroying marked buildings, and collecting bonus vehicles. Pausing the game shows the transporter's location. This feature highlights the diverse vehicles of Blastcore. Thunderfist, a mech, transforms into a ball for momentum, while the Cyclone suit excels at rolling through buildings. The Skyfall, a dune buggy, encourages head-on collisions with a rocket booster. Finally, the Ballista is a gun-toting motorbike requiring ammo collection. Gameplay tips include paying attention to arrow cues and colleague advice. Completing a stage involves flattening buildings and boarding the semi-truck. Character art of each vehicle is showcased, highlighting their destructive capabilities. The article suggests Blastcore was shaping up to be a fun, explosive experience. Pakey. This early review of Blastcore for the N64 highlights its core gameplay, smashing buildings to clear a path for a runaway transporter truck. Players must use various vehicles to destroy structures, guided by arrows. The game includes a collectathon element with 100 radiation dispersal units, RDUs, to find. Players also need to rescue civilians from collapsing buildings. As the game progresses, the difficulty increases, introducing new vehicles and challenging level designs. The review samples the variety, showcasing the J-Bomb mech destroying tunnels and the train smashing its way through the track. Overall, the reviewer anticipates a fun and varied experience beyond simple destruction. This guide highlights essential elements of Blastcore. Team members provide on-screen warnings about the missile transporter, crucial to avoid game over. A vital arrow system directs players on which buildings to destroy, using color-coded warnings: green for time, yellow for urgency, and red for imminent danger. A collision imminent. Message warns of impending crashes. The guide also introduces a hidden objective, finding 6 scientists, the only ones who can disarm the transporter. Finding one provides a clue for the next, adding a collectathon element. The page concludes by previewing later levels, showcasing progressively complex gameplay involving train tracks, barges, and racing cars, ultimately culminating in the mission complete screen. The core gameplay remains focused on stylish destruction and explosive fun. Jerry. This review of Blast Corps praises its unique gameplay and rewarding structure. Players earn medals for completing levels and achieving objectives, like reaching the Blast Corps truck before the transporter. A secret space level, accessible by finding 6 scientists, offers a collectathon element. Bonus levels, unlocked through hidden communication points, provide diverse challenges, including time trials and a Pac-Man style game. The game receives high scores, 91% for graphics, 87% for sound, 86% for playability, and 83% for lastability, resulting in an 87% overall. Reviewers highlight the game's learning curve, but also its rewarding nature. The graphics and explosions are particularly praised, while the gameplay is described as original and engaging. The review concludes with a strong recommendation to purchase the game, citing its fun gameplay and high quality. Special Reserve is advertising heavily for the Nintendo 64 with big deal bundles. A basic N64 console costs £139.99, while the big deal bundle includes Super Mario 64, a memory card, and an extra controller for £229.99. The 4-player big deal adds Mario Kart 64, Wave Race 64, and Turok, with 3 extra controllers, for £299.99. The greatest deal includes all those games, plus the memory card and extra controller, for £389.99. Individual N64 games, like Shadows of the Empire, Super Mario 64, and Mario Kart 64 are also on sale. Upcoming N64 titles include Blast Corps, July, Body Harvest, GoldenEye, 007, November, Star Fox 64, and Yoshi's Island. There are also Super NES and Game Boy games, accessories, and even a widescreen TV. Joining the Special Reserve Club offers a bonus gift. PlayStation deals are also mentioned. The next page features a look at Go Go! Troublemakers, which they're saying is finally out in Japan after ages of screenshots and info. They reckon it's one of the strangest games you'll ever clap eyes on, which is a bold claim even for the N64. The review points out it took a year to get released in Japan after the N64 launched, and it's pitched as something different from your usual platformer if you are bored of Mario 64. They mention Treasure, who are known for not doing cutesy stuff, so if you're expecting a standard kids game you might be in for a surprise, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. There are a few screenshots showing the gameplay. Looks like your typical 2D platforming, but with some odd character designs as you can see from the artwork plastered all over the page. The game info box tells us it's by Enix, price is C importer, which basically means it's going to cost you a pretty penny to get it imported from Japan. It's a 64 meg cart, single player only, and needs battery backup but not a memory pack. They've got a little Japanese text box too, looks like flavor text from the game. Overall, it sounds like they are intrigued by it, even if a bit puzzled, and suggesting it could be a decent alternative if you want something a bit different from the usual N64 fare. Go Go! Troublemakers, Rakugaki Showtime, is highlighted for its unusual gameplay. The game is split into 5 worlds, with 10 stages each, with the first world being a trial and error experience due to the language barrier. The core mechanic involves Marina, the protagonist, who lacks special powers and relies on grabbing and throwing objects and enemies. This allows for enemy submission, environmental interaction, and the discovery of hidden areas, which opens secret areas. The game's story involves Marina, a robot maid, rescuing Professor Gumball on the planet Nendoros. The visuals continue to emphasize the game's eccentric style with a lot of weird-looking characters. The review suggests it offers a unique experience compared to other N64 games. Go Go! Troublemakers is a puzzle platformer emphasizing variety and experimentation. The game features diverse levels and head-scratching puzzles, with the potential for addictive frustration. Players will encounter men in charge, including Gessler, Stinger, Baron, and Goliath, while Chappie surprisingly allies with the protagonist, Marina. Gameplay elements include Face the Facts, involving colored faces that grant items or pose dangers, and collecting red crystals. Stars and Stripes challenges players to find hidden stars to progress. Screenshots suggest a Blizzard setting, swaying platforms, mazes, and interactive elements like pulling faces. The core objective is to find 3 missing Nendoros, promising a unique experience compared to typical N64 platformers. Go Go! Troublemakers features diverse gameplay beyond simple platforming. I Used to Be a Contender presents a puzzle boss battle against a giant bee, requiring environmental manipulation for victory. Power to the People details power-ups. Red crystals revive you, unless on your last life. Blue crystals provide energy, and rare green crystals fully restore health. The game offers varied weapons, a limited-use Mochi Mochi gun, a missile pod for area damage, a boomerang, hen bombs, time bombs, standard bombs, and a Nentsubo, a customizable weapon. Finally, A Day at the Races introduces a racing section in World 3, with Marina participating in sprint, long jump, and obstacle course challenges against other characters, adding a fresh dynamic to the gameplay. This N64 Play segment reviews Go Go! Troublemakers, a game focusing on item combinations for mayhem, like flowerpot throwing stars. It features a level grading system, E to A, encouraging replayability for higher scores. The review criticizes the D-pad-focused controls, wishing for 3D stick support. The game's name was changed to Mischief Makers for the US, with a similar change expected for a UK release. Sean White's N64 view suggests perseverance is key, due to initial confusion, despite underwhelming graphics. He finds the game challenging with variety, ultimately calling it not a bad title, suggesting it might be an acquired taste. This page is a full-on advert for a sports magazine called Sported. Looks like they're really pushing it as the UK's biggest and best sports magazine, proper loud and proud about it. It's boasting a new sports facts pull-out section with all the results and stats. Reckon they think that's a big draw. Cover's got Jordan, Rodman and Pippen of the Chicago Bulls, so basketball is clearly a big feature. They're saying inside you'll find stuff on Lennox Lewis, Venus Williams, Ian Wright, and Chris Boardman too, bit of a mix of sports stars there. Plus it seems like they're covering all the big sports like footy, basketball, cricket, Formula 1, rugby, boxing, and even extreme sports, and more. A quid for the mag, coming out every 2 weeks, which seems fair enough back then. They're promising posters of top sports stars and a fantastic pull-out guide. The cover also shouts out about Stan Collimore's move to Aston Villa, and Damon Hill's Formula 1 championship, and even the Tyson vs Holyfield boxing match. You know, the one with the ear-biting incident. Bit of a sensation that was. Looks like they are trying to cover all bases to get you to buy it, with an order form to bag your copy every 2 weeks at your newsagents. Distributed by Frontline, so it's a proper publication. Hexen for Nintendo 64 is pitched as the next big first-person adventure, following in the footsteps of Turok and Doom 64. Players fight demons in a fantasy world as a warrior, cleric or mage to stop Korax from destroying Hexen. The game is a shoot-'em-up, with cooperative and versus multiplayer for up to 4 players. It uses a memory pack for saves. Published by GT Interactive, the US release was out now, making import the likely option for eager players. The ad features a horned helmet and the game logo, promising a dark, violent experience. The tagline is, "Forget everything your mother said about running with sharp objects." The next page in the magazine dives deeper into Hexen, showing off the 3 characters you can choose from. So you've got Parias, the cleric, who they reckon is a bit of an all-rounder but probably the trickiest to start with. His weapons are a mace, which they rightly say is rubbish unless you're in a proper panic, then the serpent staff that fires poison, a firestorm spell that burns enemies, and the Wraithverge, which sounds like a proper undead summoning tool. Then there's Baratus, the warrior, built like a brick outhouse apparently, and slow as a week in the jail. His weapons are all about getting up close and personal: spiked gauntlets, Timon's axe, a hammer for ranged attacks oddly enough, and finally Quietus, a runesword that eats up mana like it's going out of fashion. Apparently, the ONM office lads are all over Baratus, probably because smashing stuff is always good stress relief. Lastly, there's Daedalon, the mage. They call him a bit of a wimp physically, but he's quick and magic-based, so typical mage really. His arsenal includes a sapphire wand, bit weak they say, frost shards for freezing enemies, the Arc of Death, which sounds suitably dramatic, and a Bloodscourge staff that fires homing spheres, which they reckon is very handy. So basically, you pick your poison smashy warrior, magic mage, or the bit of both cleric. Seems like they're trying to cater to all play styles, which is fair enough for a fantasy shooter back then. Official Nintendo magazine reviewed Hexen's multiplayer modes, calling them fun for all the family, though acknowledging the game's violent content. The article praises the game's hub-based level design, allowing for exploration and puzzle solving to access sublevels. Multiplayer features include 4-player deathmatch, compared to Mario Kart's split screen, 2-player cooperative play, and a free-for-all deathmatch mode. However, the review criticizes the 4-player mode's poor draw distance and blurry graphics, making it difficult to see opponents. It notes that screen peeking is easy, and that GoldenEye 007 offers a superior multiplayer experience. This text summarizes the item collection aspect of the game Hexen. The article lists various items players can find and use, ranging from health boosts to offensive tools. Simple items like the torch aid visibility, while health items include the vial, 10% health, quartz flask, 25% health, and mystic urn, full health. Other items offer strategic advantages: wings of wrath for flight, the disc of repulsion for defense, the dark servant as a bodyguard, and the porculator to turn enemies into pigs. The summary concludes that the items, though not groundbreaking, are essential for navigating levels, fighting monsters, and enhancing the overall Hexen experience. This review from an older magazine covers Hexen on the N64. The game, a port of the PC original, is compared to the prior Heretic game. The article highlights the game's history as a Doom engine title with vertical aiming. While the PC version was praised, the N64 port is criticized for its lack of updates, retaining the original PC engine and hub levels. The review previews Hexen 2, noting its use of the Quake engine and improved visuals. A final N64 view, by Stephen Fuljames, slams the N64 version, citing fuzzy graphics, a jerky framerate, and low-resolution sprites. He criticizes the 4-player mode and concludes the port doesn't feel like a true 64-bit game. This page is a bit of a mixed bag of adverts, mostly for places flogging import games, as was the way back then. At the top, there's Skill offering the N64 for £167, and listing a few games available like Wild Choppers, Dark Rift, Sonic Wings, Uke, Mario Kart, Star Fox, Reverend Limit, and Blast Corps. Standard fare for the time, a bunch of games trying to show off what the new 64-bit console could do, some better than others, let's be honest. Below that is Console Exchange, just wanting your old consoles and games. Then we have CA Games, and Ultraplay, also pushing imports and second-hand games. Ultraplay are advertising Dark Rift, Star Wars Monopoly Bit Random that won Star Fox plus Jolt, some pet game called Nakocha Pet, Cruisin' USA, and oddly enough Hexen, which based on the previous page's review they seem to be selling despite it not being very good on the N64. They've also got ISS Soccer, and even N64 adapters. Finally, Future Games is advertising US Nintendo 64's top titles in stock, listing Blast Corps, Star Fox with Jolt Pack, gotta love the Jolt, Doom 64, Mario Kart, Multicar Racing, Go-Go Trouble Racers, Hexen and Rev Limit. So again Hexen pops up, seems someone's keen to shift copies of that game, even if it is a bit of a dodgy port. Rare is poised to release 2 new platformers on the N64, Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Quest. Banjo-Kazooie stars a bear and bird duo rescuing a damsel across 16 worlds filled with puzzles and secrets. It promises classic platforming gameplay. Conker's Quest features a cutesy squirrel with impressive animation and the ability to interact with the environment. Gameplay involves standard platformer moves like bounding and spinning, with varied worlds. The reviewer highlights the cartoon feel and movement. The preview teases a cowboy-themed level for Conker, emphasizing the game's quirky and cute aesthetic. Both games aim to capitalize on Rare's success with Donkey Kong Country. Rare's N64 platformers, Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Quest, are highlighted. Banjo and Kazooie, with 24 combined moves, are the stars of the first game. Banjo rolls and is strong, while Kazooie flies, shoots eggs, and backflips. Character assassination showcases their individual skills. Kazooie, a Breagull, likes Trill, and Banjo, a honey bear, likes honey. Mumbo Jumbo can transform the duo, with a spider form revealed, and more promised. What Ya Gotta Do details Conker's Quest, where the player guides Conker and Berry through 4 worlds to recover 100 stolen housewarming presents. The game promises a twisted plot, with multiple endings. The screenshots display both games' differing visual styles, Banjo's colorful worlds, and Conker's slightly darker, cartoonish environments. The developers are seemingly aiming for the same market as Donkey Kong Country 3. Robotech, Crystal Dreams is an N64 game developed by the American company Gamatech, based on the Americanized anime series. The game features space battles with mechs, explosions, and laser fire, standard fare for the genre. Screenshots highlight detailed spaceships and the N64's ability to render numerous mechs simultaneously, with gameplay including piloting through tunnels. The developers emphasize their dedication to the source material, aiming for accuracy and using detailed design documents. The game will feature transforming Veritech fighters with articulated transformations. The developers are targeting Robotech fans, and the game appears to offer a promising space shooter experience for those interested in anime-style combat, though its quality remains to be seen. This page is a bit of a laugh. It's basically a daft advert for Tearser. You've got this bloke, Mr. Roland Miller from Horwich, Bolton, looking proper mortified with what looks like a nappy on his head, under a big red "Exposed" headline. Seems they're running a competition on the chart show, on ITV, asking people to send in dodgy photos of their mates and family with stuff on their heads, calling them grundies, like underwear on your head. Hilarious. They're after the most embarrassing snaps you can find, of teachers, mums, dads, even your granddad looking like a right drongo. For sending in your photographic evidence of desperate cases, you can win a free Tizer sabotage pack. The whole thing is pushing this "refresh your head" slogan with a can of Tizer chucked in for good measure. Typical 90s magazine madness in it, just a bit of silly fun, to go with your gaming news. Seal's mailbag this month features a mix of fan mail and insults. Ben Blaber praises Seal's wit, and congratulates him on his new girlfriend, Geri Halliwell, receiving a positive response. Christopher Adams, however, gets a harsh response from Seal, after sending a less than flattering letter about his looks, and questioning his reality. Seal fires back with sarcasm and name-calling. Finally, Adam Cook shares his story of finally getting an N64 and 2 games after a Tamagotchi hunt. A cartoon strip pokes fun at a character named Simon, and another depicts Geri Halliwell, completing the issue's humorous tone. This month's Letter of the Month features a frustrated wife, Catherine, whose husband's N64 addiction to games like Super Mario 64 is driving her crazy. Seal humorously suggests the husband might be unhappy, and even jokes about the wife's taste in TV. Other letters discuss the N64 price drop. Eoin feels cheated by the reduction, while David sees the positives, believing the N64 is superior to PlayStation. The picture of the month is a bizarre cartoon. Simon answers FAQs, discussing Mario Kart 64's speed, the release of International Superstar Soccer 64, and the delayed 64DD and Wild Choppers. Fan art includes a colorful Nintendo mashup and a disturbing, militaristic depiction of Luigi. This mailbag opens with Seal's dismissive reaction to Digitizer's N64 controller giveaway, advising readers to take their info with a grain of salt. The Q&A section sees Simon asking about Squaresoft, Rare, Psygnosis, and the 64DD. Seal suggests Final Fantasy on N64 is possible, downplays Rare developer departures, confirms Psygnosis won't be on N64, and anticipates a late 1998 64DD release. Another Simon then asks about ISS 64 versus PlayStation football games, with Seal declaring ISS 64 the best. Matthew queries "they" in the games, and Actua Golf 64, with Seal clarifying it's total home entertainment, and confirming the game's development. The issue also features fan art, including a rude Super Mario Kart drawing, and a Street Fighter-themed N64 image. This issue opens with a letter from Stephen, ecstatic about his new N64, and Super Mario 64. Seal provides a sarcastic comment on the price drop. The Seal's Most Wanted section divides into Finn, current favorites like Mario Kart 64, reader requests, and photos of a girlfriend, and Trout, gripes about Channel 4's Digitizer, the price drop, and requests for drawings. Fan art includes a humorous Turok image, a warrior princess, and a Dream Team illustration. The Q&A with Simon covers topics like a 64-bit Hudson Super Soccer, unlikely, the Rumble Pack release, Scope Games, denied, cheat codes for Duke Nukem 64, Wild Choppers release, Human Grand Prix, Konami's Goemon 5, and Resident Evil, possible, and controller preference. Fist of the Flying Dragon, twin for the N64, developed by Culture Brain, offered 2 fighting games in one, Real Fighting and Super Deformed Fighting. This N64 version was touted as unique, building upon the game's arcade and previous console releases on the NES, Game Boy and Super NES. The game features a roster of characters, including the hero Flying Dragon, the Swedish police officer Kate, the Ghost Hunter Rising Dragon, and other archetypal fighting game characters like rivals and mentors. Real fighting, aimed for a hardcore experience with complex moves and a skill ranking system. Despite the complexity, the game remained a beat-em-up, offering additional fighting game options for the N64 library. Fist of the Flying Dragon, Twin, features a super-deformed fighting mode where chibi characters collect gems to power special moves. Completing tournaments awards over 170 unique items with different effects, fostering a collectathon element. An item shop allows players to purchase special powers with coins earned during fights. The game showcases both real fighting and super-deformed modes, with a manga-inspired character select screen. It supports Rumble Pack for tactile feedback and Memory Pack for saving rankings and collected items. The diverse cast includes Daba, Blind Fighter, Randy, Wrestler, Suzaku, Dragon Warrior, Wyler, ex-CIA, Yuka Kurenai Jiu-Jitsu Fighter, and Robonohana, Robot Sumo Wrestler. Hayato Go and Rising Dragon are also present. The game aims for broad appeal with its variety of characters and fighting styles. Wild Choppers on the N64 is presented as a flight sim in the style of Sonic Wings Assault and classic Strike games. Delayed for Rumble Pack integration, the game features levels like Destroy the Underground Installations and Eliminate the Transporter Unit. Players choose from 8 helicopters, with 4 highlighted in the preview: the balanced SKY Turbo, the Fast Hard Bull, the Nimble Firecat, and the heavily armored Whale 32. Each chopper is piloted by an American, with their stats visually represented by star ratings in categories like speed and armor. The game aimed to provide players with a variety of choppers, each with unique strengths and weaknesses. This page details the destructive capabilities and helicopter roster of Wild Choppers. Players can unleash a variety of weapons like rockets, missiles, and bombs. The game features a Feel the Force rumble effect, simulating explosions based on distance and helicopter type. The game showcases a select weapons screen and introduces 4 new helicopters: the Wasp, British, fast but fragile; the Gajah, American, slow but powerful; the RETSU, Japanese, fast and agile but weak; and the KOLONSKY, Russian, light and flimsy. Each chopper is rated in categories like speed, armor, and firepower. The game aims to provide a diverse selection of choppers, catering to different playstyles. Sonic Wings Assault, developed by Paradigm for the N64, aimed to be a more action-packed alternative to Pilotwings 64. This 3D flight sim, still without a set release date, features a storyline involving a dictator and a nuclear threat causing global flooding. Players take on the role of Project Blue, a UN defense force, battling enemies and vicious bosses across famous cities. The game promised aerial maneuvers and arcade-style action. Screenshots revealed promising graphics for the time, including aerial combat over cities. A secret Sonic Wings fighter, resembling an anime character, adds to the game's appeal. The developers aim to deliver a fast-paced experience, focusing on combat over Pilotwings' sightseeing approach. This page takes a look at Sonic Wings Assault. Remember that one? Yeah, the flight sim that was meant to be a bit more bang-bang than Pilotwings 64. They're running through some of the missions you'll be doing. Looks like they are trying to show off the variety. First up is Tokyo Raid. You're defending Tokyo from this massive walking mech called the Super XX. Sounds like a right pain. They mention fighter planes and choppers too, so it's not just this big robot stomping about. Then there's Ocean Attack, which is all about sinking this massive submarine, the Leviathan. Apparently it's been causing havoc, classic bad guy stuff. You'll be up against planes and frigates, as well as the big sub itself. Finally, Sky Intruder has you taking on the enemy's main aerial unit, which is a Sky Fortress Spriggan. Sounds like they are throwing everything at you in this game. Expect fighter jets and B-2 bombers in that one. Warranty. They're making a point about the unique targeting system, saying it's easy to use, which is probably marketing speak for "we hope you can figure it out." But, to be fair, for the N64, the screenshots do look pretty decent for their time, explosions and all that. They keep banging on about the N64 special effects, bless them. Looks like they reckon this Sonic Wings Assault game might be a good shout for some arcadey-style aerial action. Sonic Wings Assault introduces Project Blue, a team of pilots assembled to save the world. The roster includes Hawk, a hot-blooded American in an F-14B, Hien, a mysterious ninja piloting an FSX reel with kunai and beam weapons, Volk, a bloodthirsty mercenary in a Su-35 superflanker, and Glenda, a laid-back American flying an A-10 a Thunderbolt II. Ellen, a former pilot, serves as the team's operator. The game features varied characters and planes, with urban environments adding challenge. Screenshots showcase action over a city and a battle against a robot boss. The game, while typical arcade fare, likely stood out on the N64. Sonic Wings Assault, or Pilot Wings Assault, is a 3D shooting game that draws early comparisons to Star Fox 64, though the review notes its features are standard. The game emphasizes using the 3D stick for stunts, aiming to elevate it beyond basic shooting. The AI is touted to adapt and change during gameplay to keep the experience fresh. The first impressions are mixed. The reviewer finds the visuals unimpressive, especially for a flight sim developer, and notes a lack of speed. They suggest that the game may be slower than its inspiration, Pilot Wings 64, which they praise for its smoothness and realism. The reviewer also remarks on some of the odd visual choices, particularly the floating triangles. Next month's issue is heavily promoting racing games. The cover story features an in-depth look at Acclaim's futuristic bike racer, Extreme G, dubbed G4C. They also preview Imagineer's Racer and promise a playtest. Additionally, Top Gear Rally aims to challenge Sega Rally. Warrington A+. Section highlights previews of Wild Choppers, Body Harvest, Quest 64, and Dark Rift. The issue promises a tips explosion, with over 24 pages of tips and a free guide, all available with the magazine. The magazine, UK's only official Nintendo magazine, will be on sale August 23rd. Standard magazine details include staff credits, special thanks, advertising, publishing information, and legal notices. The next page is a full-page advert for Killer Instinct Gold on the N64. Blimey, remember Killer Instinct? This ad is going on about bigger, badder, meaner, and how they've basically shoved the arcade game, Killer Instinct 2, onto the N64. They reckon it's got 6 fighting modes, 10 shapely characters, whatever that means, and loads of combos. It's got the Nintendo 64 logo and Rareware logo on there, so you know it's got some pedigree. Get into it, it says. Yeah, alright then. Rated 15 as well, so probably not for the little ones. This page is a bit of a random advert for Clearasil. Spots, it says. Apparently it's 5 times better than soap. Right then.